It's going to change our sport. It's going to create new fans.
Really setting out to redefine sailing.
There's definitely times where you're yourself. I'm not even going to pretend.
It's always tough being called the favourite. So angry, I don't want to talk about it. I'll throw your camera overboard. Keep coming, worry about us.
A boat capable of 50 knots. It's akin to the sound barrier in sailing.
Going this fast, there are dangers.
Hold on.
I think that 50 knots is just the beginning, and I think this week we'll probably see that get topped up again.
That me off, and the first time I'd say there's more friction than we've ever had.
Oh, yeah, the average sports fan, I don't think necessarily views sailing as a very athletic sport.
The whole vision with SailGP was to create an exciting championship, nation versus nation.
If you push too hard, they do bite back.
This is about who the best sailors are. Well, we're in London, near Tower Bridge, and this is the global launch of SailGP.
SailGP is setting out to redefine sailing. It will be racing at its very best, fueled by athletes, powered by nature. For our inaugural season, we will stage events in Sydney, San Francisco, New York, and then in England and Cowes, onto our final event in the south coast of France, in Marseille.
There's a one design racing circuit. The quality of the athletes that will determine winner from loser on all of these different races. And we learn more and more about developing these hydrofoiling catamarans that really turn sailing into a modern extreme sport.
These high-speed boats raced in short 15-minute races, close to shore, where people can watch it and really understand it. We think that's a magic formula.
The inaugural race of SailGP, a seminal moment as the event is launched in one of the most iconic settings of all, here in Sydney Harbour.
The day's finally here, the moment we've all been waiting for, and the start of what we hope will redefine sailing. How exciting is this for you?
I guess for me, looking at the lineup of teams, we have 6 really competitive teams from 6 different nations, and I'm really looking forward to some great racing.
Pretty daunting thought, to be honest, lining up on Sydney Harbour for the first time with 6 boats, going the speeds that these boats do. And I can probably assure you, all 6 of us sitting here are packing ourselves a little bit, not knowing what to expect. But look, once that gun goes, we'll be eyes on the prize, that's for sure. And I can assure you that I don't think anyone's going to be holding back as well.
Hey, Mike. Susan, how are you? Good. All right, Paul, how are you? All good? Good. Yeah, good. So what are we're doing some more testing here.
Bending some rudders.
Oh, not breaking them, I hope. Not yet, anyway.
We're recording the acoustic data and monitoring the QA on each and every rudder.
Yeah. Did they deflect really reasonably uniformly, or was there a sort of a bit of a kink?
Bit of a kink.
There's a bit of a kink, is there? Yeah.
Steel's not quite as stiff as the carbon.
Yeah, I think we're all really excited by this. You know, this is definitely the next generation of foiling catamarans, high-speed foiling wing-sail catamarans. I think the improvement in these types of boats over the last 10 years has been amazing. But I think there's at least that amount again, probably over the next 10 years. Here's the Australian boat here. The teams drew for their boats and equipment, so all the boats were put into a drawer, labelled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the teams drew for each of those boats. There's 110 people working here, working their butts off, basically, to try and get these boats finished. You can see that there's still a lot to do when you think the first regattas in February. I'm excited about the racing, you know, giving teams equal boats with this, you know, really high-tech, these really high-tech boats, but equal. 6 of these things charging around at, you know, 50 knots. Whoa. That's going to be something to see.
Even when you've got the entire world of sailing at your fingertips, the list of people who can potentially sail an F50 at the highest level is actually quite small. But it meant that when Russell went out recruiting, he knew exactly where to look. You've got Billy Besson, the experienced NACRA 17 world champion in the French boat.
All your pressure is in your head because the boat is going fast, and for me, for the skipper, you have the pressure and the responsibility of the crew too.
Then you've got Dylan Fletcher, billed as the dark horse at the helm of the British boat.
Certainly a lot to learn. I mean, I've never been faster than 40 knots in a boat, and we're going to be sailing these boats at over 50. So it's a huge learning curve, but hopefully, all the skills we've got, get the boats around the course and be fighting for winning.
Rowan Kirby at the helm of the US boat is the youngest skipper in the pack, and he's also got a very young team.
We have the sailing talent. We just need to develop as a group and learn. That's the biggest thing, is learning every day and every event.
There's Phil Robertson, a development skipper of the Chinese team, wonderfully aggressive from his match racing past.
The learning curve's going to be extremely steep for us. We've got very limited experience on these boats. We're sort of making sure we've got one guy with experience on board. The Chinese guys have never been foiling before. Yeah, for sure, their first foiling experience is going to be a pretty surreal one, I'd say.
And then there's Tom Slingsby and Nathan Outridge, both of them Australian, but in the end it was Tom Slingsby who won out and took the helm of the Australian boat, which made for interesting headlines.
Question for Nathan. You've known Tom pretty much all your career. Do you think you can, in terms of pre-start and dial-up, do you think you can read what he's going to do before he does it?
Absolutely. You can see it on his face a mile away.
He's dreaming. No way.
Basically, this winging stuff is your grassroots entry into foiling. It's cheap, it's easy, and it's a whole lot of fun, and will give any sailor or non-sailor an opportunity to see, what it's like to get on the water and glide over the top of the waves.
Been to 3 Olympics, won 2 Olympic medals, competed in 2 America's Cups with Artemis Racing. On top of that, won multiple world championships in Olympic classes and youth classes.
How did you celebrate winning that gold medal at the Olympics?
I don't remember. For a few days.
No doubt.
The biggest thing that you always, I think most kids remember in sailing is, their first boat. And I remember the first boat I got, it was an old timber boat. For me, it was super cool. I got to name the boat. I called it Turtle Power because I loved the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I was addicted to not just sailing, but racing.
It doesn't matter what your motivation is. It could be to hold the trophy at the end of the year. It could be to kick that guy's who you don't like, as long as it brings the best out in you. At 16 years old, I dedicated my life to going to the Olympics and winning a gold medal for Australia, and I went through a lot of hurdles on the way, missing Olympic qualification in my first attempt. Second attempt, I was the favourite at the Olympics and lost. And then the third attempt, finally, it all sort of came together for me. But you dedicate yourself to something and nothing is going to stop me. And both those things combined, I think, make me a pretty vicious competitor at times.
Six wing sail catamarans ready for action, 6 crews with adrenaline coursing through their veins, enormous excitement. But surely, as we know, fire in the belly has to be accompanied by some cool heads as well. Very, very tight to the Japanese, and they're across the line, and the Chinese, in fact, it is, who started the fastest.
Come up high, hard on angle. 2, 1.
The start of a brand new sailing adventure. SailGP is up and running down under, on collision course with the Chinese. Goodness, how close that is between Japan and China.
It's okay, it's flag, let's race.
I think we're seeing how crucial it is to be able to stay on the foils and to execute excellent manoeuvres. We saw the British parts back there. Commanding performance here by the Japanese.
Check how far behind the Australians are. Wow.
They have come flying through the fleet and have sailed a very accomplished race. Race 1 of SailGP in Sydney, won by the Japanese. As they hit the start line, it is Japan in front from Australia and Great Britain. The Chinese going great guns as well. As he sails across Sydney Harbour, the waters that he knows so well. Let's look at the speed they're going. Double the pace of the Australians, 30 knots of boat speed. They are screaming along right now. Out in front and claiming the victory to have held off the challenge of the Japanese and claimed his first win here in Sydney Harbour. Japanese in second place. And it is the Aussies dominating down under on day one of SailGP in Sydney. And then there were two. We've arrived at this match race. All about the timing.
2, 1.
Great to see them so tight to each other, Shirley.
No rake at all. Yeah. He's up and very slow.
So hard to get everything right in these manoeuvres. It's a bit of a danger zone over on the right-hand side of the course there.
But we know how quick the Japanese can go when they're in full flight, when they catch a breeze.
All about control match racing.
Stand by.
There is the lead boat, the commanding boat, the Australian boat. 34 knots of boat speed in light air. Stretching well clear. Tom Slingsby, his fairy tale is complete, and fittingly, the colours of this inaugural SailGP in Sydney are green and gold.
We don't take losing lightly, and that first race really shot us into gear, and I expect a lot of myself, I expect a lot of these guys, and these guys delivered today, and I'm happy to say I delivered, and yeah, we got the win and we won 3 races straight. It's amazing.
I think going into the initial season and that first event in Sydney, there were, in my opinion, there were 2 favourite teams. There were 2 teams that had experience. One of them was our team with the Japanese team. Everyone on our boat competed in the America's Cup. 3 of us were from Artemis Racing. The other team that had a lot of experience was the Australian team and Tom Slingsby and his crew. The other 4 teams were quite green. You know, great sailors, world champions, Olympic medalists, but they'd never got their hands on the wheel of an F50 and they never felt what 50 knots would be like.
I'm not even gonna pretend, like, yeah, there's definitely times where you're like, holy like hanging on and just, you're so focused on flying the boat and locking in that, yeah, it's, you know, and of course everyone else, you know, from the outside is like, oh, you know, jump on a 50, yeah, right. Come sail a 50, then talk to me.
What's the rudder? What's the rudder? Otherwise you'll be repairing it, you boys. Do you think you're going to be hiking out there?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want it pretty tight, huh? You know, why would you want this? Why would you want it tight? Hold its shape, yeah, but why does it hold its shape, being tighter? I think one of the challenges sailing's got is that it has been hard to get into, hard to access, particularly with the yacht club environment. There's a bit of stuffiness that's carried over from past days, and in many ways, sailing has very traditional roots, and those have continued for many, many years. And of course, the world's changed or changing now. It's now becoming more diverse. There's more gender equality now that we're seeing in these Olympic-style classes. And we're trying to bring that through in SailGP as well. We've got a pretty ambitious program to try and broaden the participation in the sport.
Class sailing is set to return to San Francisco. Teams from 6 nations will be competing in a series of short races on the bay in the inaugural SailGP.
Strength in numbers, Ted.
Yeah. It's going to be out there. It's going to be windy, Greenie.
It'll be,
it's going to be cold.
Coming over.
It's going to be fun.
Well, this is exciting.
What is this thing, Jason?
This is the pepper cracker. Or the lemonade maker. Let's go to boys. Let's make lemonade, boys. Let's go to work. So if I twist this thing, the board goes forward. So we initially had a joystick here, which didn't function too well. But now, hopefully, fingers crossed, the boys' lives is in my hands.
We had one bear away where it was very, very fast, and we think we cracked the 50. The GPS is saying 52, but we need to confirm that. But it felt very fast, faster than I've ever been before, uncomfortably fast.
Yeah, I don't know. On the boat, it didn't say we hit 50, but then on our other GPS, the Velocitech, it said we did. So it said we did 52, 52.1. Felt pretty quick, I've got to say. I think we might have done it. Split the difference and we did it.
Well, we had a man
It's
over.
everywhere.
We had
It's
a man
everywhere.
overboard. Yeah. Leo, in one of the tacks, he decided to not hang on very tightly, and he just went all the way across the back beam, and he was dangling off the fairing, hooked onto his tether. So, yeah, a bit of rust going on board. Bit to learn still.
Leo.
Hey, mate.
How did you fell off, mate?
Oh. Nah.
You're still attached, aren't you?
I'm still attached onto the boat. Which shows that the safety features on the F50 work a treat. But I was still sad about breaking the boat.
What did you break?
What did I break? Some of the spline.
The aft fairing took a beating.
Yeah. Gave the aft fairing a bit of a beating. But
It kind of looked like a fish just flapping off the back of the boat.
yeah, Nathan and I made a bit of eye contact as I was going. It was all slow motion there.
Yeah, he was like, is this really happening? I'm like, yes, you're about to fall off.
Yeah. Oh, dress top. What was that?
Was that under the dress?
No.
The wind is building, and so is the expectation. All the talk, all the chatter.
The fastest race boats on the planet and one of the most relentless places to go sailboat racing. I can't wait to see them go into battle.
Good swing stop, getting softer about 10 after. Team Japan gets it straight off the bat. This is 33 knots, and these boats are about 2 metres apart, screaming into the first mark. This is game on. I haven't seen it this close in practice, that's for sure. And as you can see now, Team Japan already with a 120-odd metre lead. There's a bit of yelling and screaming going off on the boats, which you could probably hear on the onboard comms. We haven't seen this before. Normally what we've seen is one boat's just gone and extended. We've got 5 boats all within 200 metres here. This is pretty cool racing. And Japan are going to take race number 1 here in San Francisco to form. There it is. For yet another win to Team Japan. This team is absolutely on fire. 17 seconds to go before the start of race number 4. And it's going to be the local boat, Team USA, leading into the first mark. And this is where the high speeds start coming in. The boats go screaming down in front of the crowds. 40-odd knots of boat speed. Team GBR's done a nice little tack here over on the right-hand side. If they can come out of that pretty good, that's going to set them up for this top part of the course quite nicely. And you see the skipper, Nathan Outridge, just looking at his options. He can do that. He's actually flying the boat. You look at his right hand, you see him twist the grip on the wheel. That means he's in control of the boat. Japan into second spot. Oh, that's a nice close cross. And he's making some pretty good decisions at this stage because he is leading, and it looks like they're setting up for possibly their final tack into the last mark. It's going to be a win, and a very well-deserved win, I must say. Team Japan is holding up Australia. Coming in, can this be? Oh, Australia has put the bow in massive, and it's Japan in through for second, and Australia just lost out there in for third spot. Australia are looking pretty comfortable because they have got a little bit of a lead on Great Britain. Whoever wins out of them pair, get into the final.
Beautiful start by the Americans. Beautiful start.
Rome Kirby would be pretty chuffed with that. So here we go, Australia back in front of Great Britain.
It's close though, isn't it? I mean, less than a boat length between them.
This is the race. USA need to get out of the road because these two boys want to have a ding-dong battle, and it's all Tom Slingsby and his crew at the moment. Head in for a place in this final match race with Team Japan.
I'm confident in the match race against Team Japan. We want to win this race, and yeah, we'll be aggressive and we'll try to take it off them.
This is it, the match race for overall victory here in San Francisco.
That is an even star, extraordinary sailing from the Japanese team.
Japan nice and tight, both boats. Oh, it's very close to contact. That had to be so close. Japan nearly put their bow right through the middle of Australia.
A little bit of pace.
Very, very close now, Shirley. It is come back. Smart move from the 8-time world champion. This thing is not over by any stretch. It comes down to this tack. Here we go. Japan setting up for their tack, throwing the boat around. Right on the boundary is Nathan Outridge. Tom Slingsby responded. Looks like Slingsby done a nice job on his tack. Outridge sat down a little bit, but Slingsby's up and foiling pretty quick. Has that been enough for Tom Slingsby to take this into the top mark and in towards the finish for a well-deserved win here in San Francisco? Tom Slingsby, Kyle Langford, Jason Waterhouse, Sam Newton, Kai Hurst, take a bow. You've just won here in San Francisco.
Yeah! Yes! Awesome. Yes, boys! Boys.
I'm not making excuses. You know, the feeling on board right now is we lost this event. We're better than that, and we'll be better in New York.
It was such a close race. That first leg down to the bottom mark was just so tight, and yeah, we got him.